let's look at a slightly more complicated version of finding the distance between 2 points that is just a step up from the number line example we did in the last video. So here I have two different pairs of points. One of them's in blue, my pair A and B, and in question 1 I need to find the distance between them. And then we're going to do in question 2 the green pair, points C and D. So we talked about in the last video, if the points are on a number line, all we have to do is take their number values and subtract them as long as we subtract them in the correct order. When we're on the coordinate plane, we have two directions. So each point actually has two coordinates. So subtracting is a little bit more complicated. Luckily, the way that these points fall, it's actually really just a number line in disguise. Let me show you with the first one. So if I bring up my ruler, and I'm going to draw a line between the points A and B because they fall on the same horizontal line. So even though they're on the coordinate plane, this two-dimensional plane, really, when I'm only looking at those 2 points, I actually only need to worry about that black horizontal line that I just drew. So if I think about just that, and I think about that as my number line, then here, where I hit the y-axis, this is my 0 point. And so that tells me that B is at the point -1. And then if I count my way over, this will be -2, -3, -4, -5, -6. A is at the point -7. And so if I use the information from the last video, that tells me I can find the distance between A and B by subtracting them. So distance between A and B. So I'm going to take the number that's on the bigger side, the one furthest to the right. So that's B in this case. So that's going to be -1. And then I'm going to subtract the other number. In this case, that's -7. Remembering that when I subtract a negative, that becomes a plus. So I get -1 plus 7, and my overall distance is 6. If you want to check, you can go ahead and count the distance between those 2 points since they fall on a nice horizontal line. Let's look at the green pair. This one feels a little bit more complicated because they're not on the same horizontal line. I can't just draw that horizontal line to make a number line like I did for A and B. Luckily, however, they are on the same vertical line. So I can kind of just rotate the picture that we had before. It's still just a number line even if it happens to be drawn vertically. So let's go ahead and do that. Let me move my ruler. Oops. Okay. And put it between these 2 points here. All right. I'm going to draw a vertical line between them. So that line is now my number line. Here where it hits the x-axis, that's my 0 point. And let's count up to see where C is at. So I get 1, 2, 3, 4. So my point C is at 4 on the number line. And then let's figure out where D is at. So we get -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, -7, -8. So just like we did before, we take the bigger number minus the smaller number. Now before we figured out bigger numbers were furthest to the right, smaller numbers were further to the left. One of the benefits of having our number line be vertical is I think it's a more natural orientation for what we think of as bigger. The numbers that are further up on the number line are bigger. The numbers that are further down on the number line are smaller. So the distance between A and B, not between A and B, we're working with C and D now. Between C and D, again, we're going to subtract. So our bigger number in this case was 4. And we're going to subtract -8, that's our smaller number. Once again, 2 negatives become a positive. So we get 4 plus 8. And so the distance between these is 12. And once again, if you want to check your work, you can always go back and actually count your way through the number line.